Here's to the dreamers, the builders, the fighters, the leaders, the people in the trenches. If y'all are tired, I promise I am too. Fewer words have been more true.
Welcome to the Build Something Media podcast. Today I am joined with Jesse Cardenas. Did I say that right again?
You did.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. All right.
Efforts appreciated.
Jesse is hanging out with us again. She's been on another show in the studio, not our show. Mm-hmm. So she's been a guest in the studio before. Mm-hmm. And she's the owner of Century Roofing.
Century Roofing.
So you want to tell us a little bit about the business and how long y'all have been here in Chattanooga?
Yeah. Love the business. The business is my baby. We've been around for 5 years in Chattanooga. Celebrated 5 years back in April. That's when we did our first roof, 5 years. Nice. So we've been around since January. We do roofing and gutters. We work with all kinds of homeowners and small businesses, large businesses, but we're just here to make sure you have the best roof on the block and that we take care of you with diligence and care. So I've been in the industry for 13 years.
Yes, you have.
We've actually worked at the same place at one point in time.
At different times.
At different times. And so I got into roofing accidentally, but then against my own, didn't want to love it, but fell in love.
There you go.
It was a great way to work with people and a great way to help them grow and to serve really great clients, homeowners, and to just haven't looked back.
Yes. So do y'all do mostly insurance or private pay?
Yeah. So we do mostly private pay or what we call retail. We got into it through insurance, which was a fun Wild Wild West side of roofing and contracting.
Doors.
Yeah, knocking doors. That's how I got into the business.
Me too.
Okay, yeah, knocking doors. I was hired to knock on doors and create a canvassing department.
Yes.
I was 7 months pregnant with my son.
Oh my goodness.
And I was hiring and recruiting folks to knock on doors and couldn't get a no when you're pregnant.
I would imagine that would be a pretty good sales tactic.
It was. People were like, "What are you doing out here?" I was like, "I just, want to let you know there was a storm." Yeah, I gotta feed this kid, take care of this life. Before that, I worked for the Boy Scouts, so I had a lot of door-to-door fundraising and petition signing experience, and just working with volunteers and people. But to answer your question, we're retail.
Okay.
We still take care of homeowners on the insurance side of things. We're really knowledgeable about it, but we just don't prefer the fight as much. And we're just going to be really honest with homeowners, and we understand how insurance works. And sometimes we know that it's not worth the fight.
I'm fighting with 3 insurance companies right now. Carlos is one of them.
See? And we just won't do it anymore. Yeah. We won't put ourselves through it. We want to be good at roofing and contracting and taking care of our homeowners, and not really good at legal jargon
and paperwork.
And that it was really detracting from our ability to serve, because they also hold on to your cash flow.
Yes, they do.
For 90 days or more. And so we slowly moved away from that and stayed really focused on the trade.
Right.
And taking care of people and communicating what we're going to do with homeowners and how we're going to take care of their problems. And so now we used to be 100% insurance back in 2020 when that tornado came through and all that stuff. And now we are 95% retail, 5% insurance.
We were all insurance that year.
Yeah, we all were. Everybody, even the folks from out of town who came in.
Oh, goodness. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah. But it's good. And that's how we've moved the business model and are really enjoying it.
Good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's not an easy transition.
No.
Because it's a whole different animal.
It is. I feel like we're finally, just this year, truly understanding and mastering that model.
Yeah.
Because before, you were just a person who was really great at guiding a homeowner through an insurance claim process and getting some really great subs on the roof. But now it's really listening to homeowners' problems, finding the specific issue, and then creating the solution that's best for them.
Well, just getting in front of the homeowner. That's completely different, because when you're doing insurance, you're going to them.
Absolutely.
And then when you switch over to retail, they're coming to you.
Yes.
And so now you got to figure out how do I get them to come to me?
Oh, yeah. That was a big struggle too. Marketing and finding clients was a huge change. So we used to be 100% door knocking.
Right. Which is not really sales and marketing. It's you're finding a problem and presenting a solution,
Correct.
which is sales in a way.
It is.
But you're literally walking through the neighborhood and seeing damage.
Yeah.
And walking and that's, for the most part, that's an easier sell.
Mm-hmm.
And you're selling someone something that someone else is paying for.
Yes, exactly. So the biggest challenge was building a brand for us. Someone that you could think of, whether you had a big problem like hail and wind and shingles all over the ground and water going through your ceiling, or if you just know it was time to change your roof. And I have got $20,000. Who can I trust to give it to?
Exactly.
It's not going to be the person who just knocked on my door. That's just not the way the world works. And so we had to figure out how to communicate who we were, what our values were, and then try to build a brand that folks in Chattanooga could trust. Yeah. And that's taken...
It takes a while.
It takes a while. It's not immediate.
Because now they have to know who you are before they need you.
Correct.
Which is a much harder thing to do, because it's easier to get someone to sign up with you when there's water actively pouring into their house.
You are the solution to all their problems.
Yeah. You're my angel. God sent you here. That's completely different than, hey, my roof's getting kind of old. It's 30 years old and it's time to change it. Who do I call? Yeah. That's a completely different thing. It is. And so it's a different business model. It's a different tactic. And now you've got to get out and get into the public eye. Yes. Which is what you're doing right now.
Which is what I'm doing right now. Hello, public eye. And it's a challenge. This is actually more challenging for me, putting myself out there in front of the public, than door knocking. I would prefer to go knock on a door and talk to one person at a time than to do this. But I'm slowly learning the value of it and getting much better at it.
It gets easier. Yeah. The more, because I struggled with it. When I first started my business, and it was my business coaches were like, you've got to be on camera. You've got to. So the first guy that I worked with, he made me record myself every single day. Okay. And send it to him.
Oh, wow.
Like, he was like, sit down.
Oh, wow.
Here's a topic. Just sit at your desk and record yourself on your iPhone and send it to me.
Oh, wow.
And he would critique it. And then I went from there to going live. Because like once you go live, you don't have a choice. So Facebook Live, I would just be on the job site and just showing what we were doing. Okay. Which is a very good way to do it. Yes. And it's very like low budget, but it's real. And I got a good response out of that. And so that's kind of how that started. And then that led into the podcasting, because it's kind of the same thing. It is. Where there's not, like, we can cut and redo and stuff like that in here, but we typically don't. Yeah. Like, it's just sitting down, having a conversation, and we're talking to a camera, and it's almost like it is live. And so those things kind of go hand in hand. And so going live, if anybody's listening and you have a business, if you want to get out there and try it, going live is the best way to do it.
You're motivating me. I'm ready to go and record myself now every day.
Every day.
Talking about something.
That's all it takes. Yeah. And because it doesn't all have to be professional high production like this. Like, you need that.
Your phone is also professional high production. 4K. If you went 10 years ago, the camera quality on your phone would have cost $10,000. Yes. On a real camera. So, putting it in perspective like that, I'm ready to go. Let's leave now.
You just got to be in front of people. And they just want to know who you are.
They do.
They want to know who you are.
And they want to know you more than just a brand now, and the business and your offerings. They want to know who's behind it.
Brand is dead.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's a statement.
Yeah, that is our new slogan.
Okay.
Brand is dead.
Tell me.
People don't, that's more of a Chris, like, that is like his baby.
Okay.
But it's basically like, people don't care what you say you do. They care what you do.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Like, for instance, so he shared the story the other day about the Starbucks CEO and how everybody's like up in arms about Starbucks because they're all about, green and paper straws and all this stuff. And their CEO flies like thousands of miles every day on a private jet to go to the office. And people are like, you're not practicing what you preach.
Yeah.
And so it's, people don't care what you say you're going to do. They care what you're actually doing. And it's not about the brand. It's about your actions.
Amen. Well, that's not new though.
It's not, but it's, people have more say in their opinions on it now because most stuff is on the internet and on social media, and people can comment on it.
Yeah.
So 15 years ago, every ad that you saw for a business was on television. There's no comment section.
No, there's no feedback.
There's no reviews. There's no, like, it's just this person talking at you while you're sitting in your living room.
You could say you're a business that everyone can trust for 10, 15 years before.
And they could have 20 lawsuits
real
pending.
verification of that.
I mean, what's the first thing you do if you see an ad for a business on your Facebook timeline? You go to the comment section.
I do.
Or
I go to their website. Or I'll go Google them and see if they've got reviews.
Even your website, like you can only put up. You can put up the review. You pick the reviews.
That's
basically.
true. No, absolutely.
So you pick your best reviews and you put them on the website.
Absolutely.
So,
I like the websites that have the automatic feeder.
Right.
But I think even those filter out.
You can filter them.
Yeah, I would expect that the marketing company that I hired.
They're paying for that website. They're in control of
would filter it. No, that's true. Yeah. So then we'll do that some more. We'll get in front of some folks. Do it. How did you transition into media? If I can turn the mic around and ask. I'm so curious about that.
Grassroots social media is how I built my business. I got my name out there, just networking groups, events, social media, and I was posting every day, and then started doing more planned videos and started editing some of the videos and stuff, and just literally I never paid for marketing at all. Other than just having a website built. Yeah. And then I built a deck for Chris, and then Chris was like, "Hey, that's right. I've got this idea for a marketing company," and he was wanting to market to contractors. Yeah. And I was in the process of kind of transitioning over to being like kind of a part-time, not really like a business coach, but just kind of like, I don't know, like a liaison or just like somebody to bounce ideas off of. Like I was getting a lot of questions and I was helping some guys out, and I wanted to get to a point to where I was helping other smaller contractors kind of grow their business. And that's what the Home Source Network originally was going to be. It was going to be a network of services, all under one roof, with a shared call center, shared marketing, and all that. And then COVID hit. And then that kind of like got put on the back burner. And then that kind of led into this. And so this is a different version of that. It's all an evolution. We started with just the trades, and it was supposed to be Manly Marketing was the name of it. That's what Chris and I started.
Mainly marketing?
Manly
marketing.
Yes. Manly marketing, guys with tools. And
guys with tools,
yeah. And it just I mean, you've watched it because you basically have known us. I mean, we'd only been in business like 2 months.
When I met you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're here.
Yeah.
Like 6 months later.
Yeah.
And it's grown like crazy, and so we've just kind of gone with the flow. And him and I are both very creative people.
Yeah.
So
you are.
He's the brains of the operation. I have transitioned him over to being on camera a lot more. He did not want to be on camera at all when we first started, and you see how that's changed.
Absolutely.
And so you get comfortable being on camera.
Well, and I'm thinking about how you're saying you eventually became comfortable, and how entrepreneurs love being uncomfortable. We do all the exactly. I'm thinking about people don't like to get on screens because they might look dumb or do the wrong thing, but entrepreneurs are constantly taking risks, looking dumb and not doing the right thing. So it's a bit, but no one always knows that. I guess you can keep it a little bit behind doors, but this is the same concept, and so it lives inside of all of us. It's just a choice of whether we actually do it or not.
And if you want to get good at sales, get good on camera, because you learn to think on your feet, especially if you're doing live stuff. Podcasting has helped me a lot.
Okay.
Like knowing how to interview people.
Yeah.
And carry
You're
on a conversation.
You're doing a great job, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So knowing how to carry on a conversation, knowing how to listen and keep your mouth shut in certain situations, it goes hand in hand with sales.
And I would call it high pressure practice.
Yes.
Because the camera element adds more high pressure. Because you can be really good at listening when no one's watching or it's just your friend. But if it's high pressure, you have to retrain your brain to listen even more. So that makes a ton of sense. I'm going to go to the office now and tell all the sales guys also to, hey,
exactly.
talking to your phone.
Yeah, on your personal, like, people should know what you do.
Yeah.
And so I've been a firm believer in that for a long time.
Yeah.
Is if you're a business owner and everyone who knows you doesn't know what you do, you're failing.
Yeah.
Like you're messing up.
Yeah.
Like I know there's some business owners that want to be anonymous. They want the anonymity. I don't, because I want to grow my business as much as possible. So like I want everybody to know what I do. Yeah. It's like when you go to my Facebook page, you should know what I do.
Yeah.
That I'm a contractor and I do media.
Yeah.
That's and we're trying to find that like balance. So we've started transitioning my personal brand more to the media side, and the construction side of Justin is under the Home Source brand, because that's got a decent size following as well. So we're trying to kind of, because of the way the algorithms and stuff are now, it doesn't matter that you have 25,000 followers.
It doesn't?
It does not.
On YouTube or anywhere? Oh.
YouTube probably still helps a little bit more to have subscribers.
That's right.
But on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff, you can start a brand new page today, and if you're posting the right content, it's going to take off. And so having the days of just having a lot of followers and that's like a newsletter list is over. Just because they follow you doesn't mean they're going to see your stuff. If it's not something that the algorithm is pushing to them,
in front of
that's what they look.
There are people that I follow who I haven't seen in forever on my timeline. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot I followed you.
Because they don't post anything that you're actively interested in.
So talk to me about that. I'm so curious. You know, you're advocating that you put your personal life out there on top of business, and I know that I struggle with this. I want to do it, but now I have kids. Yeah. And I also want to keep some things private. So how do you balance that? I know that you have kids. You know, the whole thing about they're so young they can't really consent to being online just yet, and all of those things on top of it. So how do you have any particular boundaries or set of rules for posting?
Yeah, there's certain things that I won't post. Okay. But I try to keep it as like a ratio. Okay. So for every like 10 things you post, maybe post one that's like family or personal, just so you still look like a human. Yeah. If you need to know what you really want out of social media. Yeah. If you're using it just for friends and family, then keep it that, and then have another separate profile, because you can have as many profiles as you want. That's true. And so you can have a private one that's just Jesse for your friends and family, and then you can have one that's Jesse, owner of Century Roofing. And so that's like, for me, I'm more of just a personality. So like my personal page needs to be what I'm doing. And so that's, like I said, we're focusing that more on the media side of stuff. Justin, the podcaster, the motorcycle guy, stuff like that. And the Home Source Network is Justin Bethune, the contractor. Got it. And so the algorithms keep that separate. Okay. And I personally have actually seen the drop off with the new algorithm, because I was posting so much different stuff. Everything kind of dropped off because it didn't know who to push it to, because I was throwing out so much, because I do so much stuff. So you're talking about the separation between media and contracting. Yes. So you had to get really specific. Yeah. So regardless of what you're doing, I think if it's like less than 10% of like personal stuff, that's fine. Okay. Like that's not really going to affect the algorithm. Okay. Because it can kind of differentiate the difference of that. Like I said, it depends on your personal preferences, really. And I think for me, it's gotten a little bit easier to consider and be open to posting more. I don't post a lot in general. I used to do family 24/7, never did work. But as I'm understanding, I know the brand is dead, but my business more, and my goals now that we've really moved to the retail model and we're not chasing storms we really want to serve, and et cetera, I am much more open to wanting to post personal stuff, because I can be more intentional with it. Yeah, and like in this industry, and being a small business in a town like this, especially like in Chattanooga, people want to know who they're buying from. Absolutely. Like they don't want to buy from a big national brand. They don't. When it comes to stuff with their home. Yeah. Like they want to know that the person that they're spending money with is keeping it here, that they're not some bigwig CEO. Yep. That you're taking care of the guys that are the ones actually working on their house. Like it's, every market's going to be different. You know, like it's way different here than it is in Atlanta. And I think we both worked in Atlanta. Yeah, we both worked in Atlanta and here. So and the roofing industry down there is completely different than it is here. It's a lot more detached. It's like here it's more like personable. It is. A lot of venture capitalist companies have moved into town, though, that existed in Atlanta, and so I'm hoping that it won't change. I think that it will, but just keeping my head on straight and trying to stay local and serve the community is the best thing that we can do, and those things will happen sometimes. But and that's the difference in retail and commercial. It's like if you're doing commercial roofing, you're going to be dealing more with like corporations and stuff, and they don't care who they're. No. They just want the cheapest. They do. As long as you can meet this criteria and give us the. Do you mean residential price versus commercial? Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely.
You're right. And we love our homeowners.
Yeah.
Some people say that that's the hardest side of the business, and it is, but I think that the reward is also worth it.
It is.
It's a much bigger reward. I mean,
yeah.
Personally anyways.
Yeah, and it's for y'all, this like a roof is like a one-time.
It is.
Like you might buy 2 roofs in your life if you're not someone like me who buys and sells houses all the time. That's your typical homeowner once, maybe twice. Like they're not like repeat clients.
No, they're
but you're
not.
going to get a lot of good referrals.
Yes.
And so you really want to build that relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you don't have many opportunities to do it if you're only doing it once or twice in their life.
Exactly. Like you screwed up once and you're done.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're also very nervous, right? Because this is not something they do often. There's lots of questions. And it's expensive. Since COVID, it's gone up 25%. And so, I think that's the challenge that I really enjoy, is making sure that this really stressful process can be as easy as possible, and things will go wrong. It's construction.
Yeah. Oh,
but that we're there for them and that we help guide them through that.
Any contractor that tells me they've never made a mistake, I don't trust them.
That's a lie. They must have just started working yesterday.
Yes. They're just lying.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, exactly.
We've all messed stuff up. It's about how you fix it.
Exactly. Yeah, we've had mistakes made and still got 5-star reviews, and it's specifically because of the way. Those are typically
the ones you do get a 5-star review on.
Yeah, because of the way we handled it.
Yep. 100%. So, Jesse, it's been a pleasure.
You too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You want to shout out where everybody can look you guys up?
Yeah. So follow Century Roofing on Instagram at Century Roofing, or go to our website, centuryroofing.com. That's SENTRI roofing.com.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Bye. Whoa. Cool.
21 minutes.
Okay. I was like, you said 15, right? Okay. I feel like I'm a chatty Kathy. All right.